It occurred to us during the move that we are a media production company about computer hardware, and we have no computers to work on in the new office. We have one. We have the old rendering machine. It's got some actually pretty severe GPU sag issues right now from that Aorus 1080 Ti. It's almost literally falling apart at this point. So that's the only machine we have in here other than laptops. So it's time to go shopping, pick out some parts. We have cases already in mind. Spoiler alert, have plenty of cases. So 2 Dark Base Pro 900s, kind of liked them. They're big, and I'd rather have them under tables for work systems than on a shelf. So we're gonna use 2 of those. We have an NZXT Noctis 450 from iBuyPower years ago that has a special Gamers Nexus nameplate on it, so gotta use that. And then a Silverstone PM01, just a case we've always liked for a lot of reasons. So what we need to do now is take a quick trip and go shopping for other parts. The hell is that? Before that, this video is brought to you by Lian Li's O11 Dynamic, a case largely designed by overclocker Der Bauer for high-performance water cooling, though our performance testing also illustrated strong air cooling performance. The O11 Dynamic is affordable, high build quality, and offers a unique form factor case with dual PSU support. Buy one now at the link in the description below. All right, so shopping time. By take a trip, I meant 15 feet away to the GN inventory area. So some of this stuff is still being filled in. Quick note, servers in here might be a bit loud sometimes. But we have a couple parts we already know we want. So an 8086K I bought because after working with the other one, I wanted something I could overclock pretty easily and high, and I know this is binned. So we'll get one of those, throw that into the main rendering and editing machine that we'll be using daily. So that'll be an 8086K, and that's because we found that Premiere really likes frequency, often more so than just straight cores. That has a bit of both, but it has more frequency, so we're gonna favor the Intel higher frequency part for Adobe Premiere purposes. Next thing, we already requested, I found a flaw in our shelf design, Keegan. Okay, sorry Gigabyte. Okay, well, can't use that one. We've requested a few parts from Gigabyte. I don't know if we got this for review or for, hopefully I didn't mess up the shelf. I don't know if we got this for review or if we got it for the system I'm building, but we can do a bit of both because we're setting up the power supply review stuff, and coincidentally it allows me to review the board. So this is a Z370 Aorus gaming board that we specifically requested from Gigabyte. It's from their RMA department, I think, which is fine. It still suits us. So this is going to be the main system. So that's what we're looking at for the board. And then we're going to throw this in there. So we've got an 8086K, decent board for overclocking. I'd really like to cut some fins in that, but that's okay for now. So that sets our platform. Now we need power supply. I don't know if I'm going to use, like this one we might just keep out for review purposes because one of their first power supplies, if not their first power supply. So might just review that and pull like a Corsair unit that we're not using for reviews or anything. I think we have some 650s or 850s coming in from Corsair that we can use. So not sure on this right now. May want to hold on to it for review instead. And this is other stuff for review. We're not going to use any of it in the production machines. Next part, I know that for one of the other, so we need to build 5 machines, 4-ish. One of them, the main production machine, is going to be 8086K and some other parts. Next machine will either be mine or Patrick's. Patrick needs pretty good core count, pretty good frequency, more of a balance between them than Premiere wants. And that's for his software that he wrote that does frame rate analysis, console analysis of tearing and frame rate performance in console games, stuff like that. So it's software he wrote. We haven't super optimized it for anything. So I'm thinking for him, one of the 2 X99 boards, and not, actually, I honestly, it's been so long, I don't even know the difference. So let's look at these 2 boards. The EVGA X99 boards are in test benches. So we need to look at these separately. So that's board number 1. What even is this board? This is an X99A2. Oh, that's convenient. This is X99 Deluxe. If I were in a store picking between these, I think this is the one that one of our Patreon backers traded me when I met up locally. We got pizza and he traded me the board. So shout out to Disturbed Medic if you're watching. But we've got a choice between this one and the other. What's the main difference here? PCIe slots, don't care. VRM, I can't tell from here what the differences are, but they look very similar. Okay, so looks like we review a lot of parts. I don't actually memorize when they all come out. The A2 is a more recent release. It's one of the last X99 boards that came out. A2 is a 2016 release. The Deluxe is, I think, a 2013 or 14 release. And A2's got some more USB 3.1 support than the Deluxe does, from what I was just reading on Tech Report, which looks to be accurate, as you can see right there. There's your evidence of that. So we may go with this just for the modern I/O compatibility, but still kind of a toss-up. Could go with either one there. So could go with both too, depending on the CPUs we have available. So speaking of, let's see what CPUs we have available, because if we have enough spare X99 parts that I'm never going to use, other than testing, which we should have duplicates for that, then we could go with two X99 systems. So we have, here's our HEDT parts. I guess I'll show you all the walkthrough here. HEDT, so we have a concern here in that anything that is going to get used regularly for benchmarks, for overclocking live streams, anything like that, it cannot go in a production machine. It's like we have one 7980XE that is not going in production machines. It needs to stay out for benchmarking. The point of it is to make content, and we can't have it tied up. These are all desktop parts. We have more desktop parts starting to fill up this one. We've got a lot of AMD Ryzen over here, and the A series and FX series. So there's an FX CPU that's currently checked out in my name for my production system offsite. And we've got Ryzen, more Ryzen. We have Threadripper somewhere. I don't know if we don't have a special tray for that. So let's look at the HEDT stuff first. 8086K for the main production system. We have 6800, 6900K, probably not retesting those, and if we are, not anytime soon. 7740X, the discontinued one that lived a very short life, so we could put that in a machine, kind of not a great CPU. 4960X, probably not getting retested, but that's X79. I don't have any spare boards. What is this? 7800, or 7820 actually. 7900X with a missing capacitor. We probably want to leave the 7900 out for testing, and these would be X299 anyway, so that poses a challenge. Let's do this. Let's pull at least one of these for the X99 platform. Let me check the specs on those. It's been a while. All right, 8 cores, 16 threads versus 6 cores, 12 threads. Frequency is comparable. So we're going to go with 8 cores, 16 threads. Probably not retest the 6900K. If someone wants comparative data between this and the modern 7000 series HEDT CPUs, we already have it up there. We won't rerun it anytime soon. If we do, we'll have to pull it, but more likely we'll rerun this one if we keep that one out. So let's pull this CPU out. So that covers us for 2 systems. Let me put this over on the shopping cart. I think this is where that goes. Hang on. Okay. We just restocked these, by the way. The Gamers Nexus Cobalt beer glass with a gold rim. If you'd like one, they're in the store. Not all of them come, actually none of them come with a 6900K. So we've got 6900K, X99 board, this one probably, and 86K gigabyte board. So we're covered there for some of them. So we've got 2 platforms. We need a video card, that one. Okay, also from the Gigabyte RMA department, thank you, Gigabyte. We've got a 1080 Ti that we can throw in. So this has been tested and abuse at their department. We've done actually I should go back and new generation, so whatever. This is a 1080 Ti water-cooled card. We did the 1080 version of this card that a reader loaned us actually a while ago, and it did okay. The block is interesting. You can kind of see it through there. So that copper comes down and touches the VRAM, and I don't know if this specific, yes it does. So this model also has a copper heat pipe in there that contacts the VRM, and kind of hard to see from here, but there is actually contact, so it's cold plate to copper block that goes to the VRM and VRAM. So VRM over here via heat pipe. So basically one cooling solution shared by everything on the card, which means the GPU temperature will appear higher, and it is, but that's because it's sharing a solution with the other components on the board, and all of them are going to be cooler. So that'll be our main card probably for the primary production system. Get that sagging Gigabyte card out of there. Never really liked the extreme card, was never really one of our top choices, even back when we reviewed it, the one that's in there now. So it'll be great to replace it with this thing, and that'll take care of the main production system. So let's separate these a bit. That'll go on this side. This can go on this side as well, and then move this around. Think it's in the way?
Yeah.
Where should I put it?
Out of the way.
It's going over there, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Also, I should say, people are going to be like, Steve, you're disrespecting Intel by throwing the processor that they gave you. I bought it, and I'm not disrespecting Intel. I'm commenting on the commenters. RAM is next. So we've got everything else. RAM's on the other side of the shelf. So now we're in the RAM area. Is it really? Does it need to be there? Okay. So now we're in the RAM area, and we have DDR3, DDR4 to choose from. Just upgraded to these trays. They've hit 50, except each one uses like 2 slots. So Patrick's done all of this organization. I think I would love to have one of our 4 to 5 production systems still on DDR3. We might stick with an X79 platform for that. So the one that's currently a main production machine might turn into mine or Patrick's if the 6900K system, whichever one of us that doesn't accommodate, will probably get the Xeon machine or change it to a 4960X or whatever that processor was called, because that's DDR3. So that would allow us to tap into some of our DDR3 memory, which is becoming increasingly obsolete and not getting any use at all. I mean, there's kits in here that were made for Nehalem, because they sold in packs of 3, so you could use a triple channel on Nehalem platforms. So this is like, it's still plenty good memory, but for the DDR4 systems, we got to pick something. We have a lot of Corsair Vengeance right there. 2 of these kits are for GPU and CPU review platforms, 3 actually, and we have 1 duplicate right now, so I'll pull the duplicate, and then we have another duplicate on the way from Corsair that will be the same kit. This is it. So 32 gigabytes, and it is 3200 megahertz CL16, which one of these kits binned really well for us, but I don't think it was this one because I marked that one. So we'll pull these 4 sticks, and that will take care of, we'll use all 4 for the main production machine. We want 32 gigabytes in there, just, I mean, because Premiere uses a whole lot of memory. So that takes care of that. We have another kit of this coming in from Corsair, so that'll take care of the other production machine. We're gonna have 2 production machines that are for video editing, one that's for what I do, which is a bit of everything, one for Patrick, and then maybe 1 extra. So the Corsair stuff will take care of the 2 editing machines. Not sure what I'm gonna use yet, but let me go put this down. Almost damaged something. So I'll commit right now to using X79 for one of them. So still have a good X79 board. It's an old like Asus one that came with Black Flag of all things. So that shows you the age of it. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, that is, not the band. But we'll put this in one of the Intel or Ryzen desktop platforms that's dual channel. That makes way more sense. It's 16 gigabytes, which is plenty for some of us, but not for those doing video editing. So we'll pull that. Should pull a video card for the other editing machine. Okay, so Keegan, what CPU did I use for the first one? 8086K. All right, cool. 4960X, that'll go back in the system with a Xeon in it, because the Xeon kind of sucks. It's got way more cores, but the speed is really bad. It's like 3 gigahertz, and I can't work with that. So we'll gently place that there. And then I need a GPU for the other editing machine. I'm thinking a 1080 Ti. We need some of these for testing. So this is CPU testing. This is for like other component testing that I do. Can't go in machines we use daily. Could use the Asus card. I kind of want to keep this one, or this is actually colorful. So we actually have some parts in the other room that I'd rather use a hybrid for this. So still making progress in this room. This is going to be the testing room. I put in the cooler test bench. Oh, that's actually one that I made. This is a reference 1080 Ti. That might be an okay fit. I kind of want to keep it free for comparison versus the whatever NVIDIA comes out with immediately for gaming. So I might just pull, here's the thing, I think this card, this EVGA 1080 Ti, I suspect is not rebuilt properly or is broken. So what we'll do is we'll pull that one and use that, well, I'll pull it and pull it apart and see if I can get it functional. And if I can, then that'll be our card for the second production machine, because the second like video editing machine, because it's not getting used anyway, because it's been like broken for a while now. So pull it apart, see if I can fix it. So that's video card number 2. So now I need to pick a card for either my system or Patrick's, depending on who ends up using the one with the 6900K we saw earlier. I'm thinking I want CUDA. We use CUDA acceleration for a lot of stuff. So we're going to stick with a CUDA accelerating card. And I'm thinking 1070 Ti. I have a couple 1070 Ti's. The one that we least need for review and benchmarking purposes is going to be the colorful 1070 Ti. It was fine. Wasn't particularly exciting, but fine. So we'll pull that. That'll take care of my card or Patrick's. Again, whoever uses this system. The 2.5-inch drives we reserve for the test benches. Typically, our stuff is not I/O bound, so these almost never are a factor as long as it's fast enough to hold games in the OS. And then we have a bunch of M.2 drives. We rarely use these. Sometimes they get used for test benches like Threadripper or HEDT systems. These, I think, they're not particularly good, but they're Kingston drives, 120 gigabytes of storage, Phison controllers. I'd have to look at benchmarks, and I probably will, but I'm going to tentatively pull these for now. We'll either use them in RAID on one system or just standalone, because the thing is, all of our actual storage is remote, as in not in the system being built. So for things like media production, for video files, all that, it's not stored locally. Don't need a lot of local storage. Don't need fast local storage. We just need good enough. We have a Samsung drive. Here we go. So let me pull this aside. That's a maybe. So that's a maybe for that system. I'll look up the benchmarks later and figure out if it stays or goes, and then we can buy another one if we have to. And then this is an 850. I'm going to leave the 960 Pro alone for benchmarks. So this is a Samsung SSD 850 Evo. It's M.2. I think I bought this one, and if not, then one of the CPU vendors sent it to us. So next we need a cooler. We have a good amount of coolers. I can't pull an air cooler because I'm just starting some air cooler benchmarks. Liquid coolers, we do have duplicates of some stuff, but the thing is, there's a whole crate of Asetek coolers, of which I have many duplicates, and that we haven't brought it over yet. So I'll bring over the crate of Asetek coolers. They're unbranded. We're never going to review them. We've tested some, but won't need many like duplicates of them. So I'll pull that over and use that for all the systems. It's a boring solution, I'm sorry, but the thing is, we don't, like, despite having a lot of hardware, we don't actually get to just use whatever Keegan's helping my point here. Thank you very much. We don't get to use whatever we want for whatever system we want. So to make a point, my system at home has an FX 8370 that's undervolted and underclocked because the motherboard's garbage. clearly I have my pick of processors. But the thing is, this business runs on making cool content, benchmarking components, and it's what I want to do with the components, and also it's what generates the money to keep the business going. So we leave the good stuff out for testing and do not engage it in a system, because once it goes in a system, to pull it out requires downtime, and that starts really adding up in terms of things that we don't want to do, like take a production system offline, pull the parts, and test it for days. So we just leave it out of the systems. So we don't get to pull whatever we want, which means that it is easier for me to just do the boring solution of pulling a bunch of unbranded Asetek coolers for cooling. For power supplies, same thing. We're going to be testing some of these power supplies pretty soon with our power supply testing setup. So I can't just pull whatever off the shelf, because once it's in the system, I don't know if we've invalidated that power supply by abusing it. It may not be representative anymore. I don't know if we have to pull it out of a system that shuts us down for a while. So power supplies I'm going to wait on a little bit, see what we test, what gets through testing first, we can pull it and use it. Otherwise, I think Corsair might be sending some stuff out. So we'll wait on the power supplies. Cooler is going to be the Asetek coolers. We have a storage solution, we have video cards, and then we need to build a couple more production machines still, but we'll pull those parts later. So at this point, all you need to know is that we're going to be doing a live stream building this stuff. I'm going to be working with Patrick, who does the case testing these days. We'll build systems during a live stream, both of us working on them simultaneously. We're hoping to do multicam, hoping to do multi-people on the stream, so it should be a lot of fun, should be pretty different, and a lot of fun, I think, just for everyone to watch and for us to do. Don't have a date on it yet, but check twitter.com/gamersnexus for updates, and hardware news and Ask GN episodes will probably update there once we're ready with a date on the live stream. This video is more or less a note for the fact that we will be doing a live stream. So yeah, it's a little bit lighter on content than some of our other stuff, but we're still setting up the office. This is a big part of setting up the office, and we wanted to let you all know that we're getting pretty close now to having something functional. We just, a couple more things to do in a live stream, and that should cover it. So store.gamersnexus.net to pick up one of the beer glasses that was shown in this video. We just restocked a lot of them. I know they sold out within 16 or so hours last time, so if you missed it, they're back. Store.gamersnexus.net. It's got the gold rim on it, and then a cobalt blue glass with our Teardown logo printed on it. Looks awesome. You go to patreon.com/gamersnexus. It helps out directly. Subscribe for more. I'll see you all next time.